Welcome back to the forest. Tonight's tale is extra special because Clover the cuddly bear and Riley the clever raccoon have found themselves on a mysterious journey, and we're going to tag along. The stars have found their places above the treetops, and the moonlight drapes softly over the mossy forest ground, brushing every fern and branch in silvers and golds. Even the breeze has slowed to a hush, like it's listening in. Somewhere nearby, a stream hums a sleepy tune, and the air carries the scent of pine, damp earth, and the faint sweetness of wild violets. And standing in the doorway of her cozy little cave is Clover the bear, clutching her favorite blanket as she peers into the forest moonlight. Just past the trees, there was a flicker of light, soft, strange, and moving. Clover's nose twitched. That wasn't there before, she whispered to herself. Could it be fireflies? Or something else? She pulled her blanket closer, unsure if she should stay inside or step out for a breath of fresh air. The light was too far to see clearly, but it flickered again, golden and slow, almost like it was breathing. Just then, a soft rustle came from the path. A pair of quiet paw steps moved through the underbrush, steady and unhurried. A familiar figure appeared beneath the moonlight. It was Riley the clever raccoon, with their yellow plaid pajamas slightly wrinkled and their striped tail swishing behind them like a curious question mark. Their round green glasses caught the glow of the stars, and their thoughtful eyes scanned the trees with quiet interest, as if they were listening for something only the forest could say. "Hi, Clover," Riley called gently, spotting her by the doorway. "You're up late." Clover stepped out just a little. "Riley," she said, pointing, "do you see that light over there in the woods?" Riley paused, adjusting their glasses as they followed Clover's gaze. The light flickered again. Riley said, eyes narrowing thoughtfully. "Yes, I do. That's definitely something. I wonder what it is." Clover hugged her blanket tightly. "What if it's something scary?" Riley smiled softly. "Or what if it's something beautiful?" Clover looked at the light again, then at Riley's calm expression. "Would you go look?" she asked. "Only if you come with me," Riley said, offering a paw. Clover hesitated a moment, then turned back and tossed her cozy blanket inside, swinging the door shut behind her before she could change her mind. Then she slowly reached out and took Riley's paw. The light flickered again, soft and strange, as if it were peeking through the trees on purpose. Just far enough away to be curious, but not close enough to understand. Clover took a deep breath. The air was cool and sweet, and Riley's paw felt steady in hers. "Okay," she whispered. "Let's go see what it is." And with that, they stepped away from the cave and into the forest, side by side, their footsteps soft beneath the stars. The two friends turned toward the trees, the flickering light ahead of them, and began their gentle journey into the night to discover what this mysterious glow was all about. The forest path stretched before them, quiet and cool beneath the trees. Riley took the lead, walking with steady steps and gentle purpose. The moonlight streamed through the high canopy in narrow bands, painting silver light across the mossy floor. Each step was soft, a whisper against the earth. Clover followed close behind, paws brushing the edge of a fern as they passed. She'd left her blanket behind, but the presence of her friend beside her felt just as comforting. With each step, the glow of the mysterious light ahead flickered just faintly between the trees. Not too fast, but patiently, like a secret waiting to be told. Around them, the forest stretched and sighed. Old trees with wide trunks stood like quiet sentinels, their bark rough and fragrant with age. Somewhere overhead, an owl called once, then fell silent again. "I always forget how many shades of green there are," Riley murmured, brushing a paw along the mossy trunk of a leaning tree. "Even at night they don't go away, they just turn deeper." Clover nodded slowly. She was beginning to notice it too, the way the moonlight softened the colors of the trees, the leaves, and the grass. Even the shadows felt different now, not like places to fear, but like parts of a story still unfolding. A rustle nearby made her pause, but when she turned her head, it was only a mouse, small and quick, diving into a nearby cluster of ferns for shelter. "Oh," Clover whispered, a smile curling at her lips. "How adorable." "It must be bedtime for the mouse family," Riley said, voice quiet and calm. "The forest is going to sleep." And as they walked on, the light of the mysterious glow stayed ahead of them, small, steady, and kind. Leaves whispered overhead as the wind passed gently through the branches, carrying with it the scent of damp earth and wildflowers. The moon cast dappled silver patterns across the mossy ground, and now and then a twig snapped softly underfoot. Clover walked close to Riley, her little bare eyes taking in the dark forest with wonder. As they went deeper into the forest, each shadow between the trees started to feel just a little too dark, a little too deep. But Riley moved with curiosity in their step, their glasses glinting as they scanned the forest for clues. "I'm not sure I like how dark it's getting out here," Clover murmured, hugging herself tightly. Riley looked back with a reassuring smile. "Don't worry, Clover," they said. "It's not the scary kind of dark. It's just the forest's way of resting before it starts fresh in the morning." Just then, a soft golden flicker caught their eye. "Look, fireflies," Riley whispered, pointing to a group drifting lazily above a tall patch of grass. The tiny lights blinked in gentle rhythm, like floating stars swaying with the breeze. Clover stopped to watch them, her shoulders relaxing as one hovered just in front of her nose. "It's so tiny and perfect, like a little lantern." Riley nodded. "I guess the forest has a way of giving us light when we need it." Further along the trail, the forest opened slightly to reveal a gentle stream winding across their path. It wasn't wide or deep, just enough to ripple over smooth stones and curl around the roots of nearby trees. The moonlight caught the water's surface in soft silver streaks, and the sound of it, steady and fluid, filled the space with a calm, thoughtful hush. A large fallen log stretched across the stream, like a bridge placed there by the forest itself. It was worn smooth by seasons of wind and rain, its surface blanketed in thick velvet moss. Small clusters of mushrooms clung to one side, glowing faintly in the dark, and dewdrops clung to the bark like tiny beads of glass. Clover paused at the edge, ears tilting forward. "It's pretty," she said softly, "but also kind of slippery." She peered down at the water, which rushed gently below. The current wasn't fast, but it swirled just enough to make her paws feel uncertain. "What if I fall?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "You won't," Riley replied, stepping onto the log with calm confidence. "I'll go first. See, it's steady. You just have to trust your steps." Clover watched as Riley moved slowly and carefully, each step placed with quiet care. When they reached the middle, Riley turned and gave her an encouraging nod. With a small breath, Clover stepped up. The moss was cool and springy beneath her paws, and the gentle sound of the stream beneath helped quiet her nerves. She moved slowly, her focus steady, and halfway across she lifted her head and smiled. "I'm doing it," she whispered, more surprised than proud. "You're doing great," Riley said, extending their paw as Clover reached the final step. On the other side, the woods seemed to welcome them, and as Clover looked back across the log and the water below, something inside her felt different, brighter. "I guess I'm braver than I thought." Riley grinned. "You certainly are." The path curved gently through a stand of tall trees, their trunks rising like pillars in the moonlight. The canopy above thinned just enough to let soft light spill down in shifting patches across the mossy ground. As Clover and Riley stepped around a bend, something delicate caught Riley's eye, a shimmer just ahead, like starlight tangled in the air. "Clover," Riley whispered, slowing their steps. "Look at that." Nestled between the trees was a collection of spider webs, strung between low branches and tucked between the arms of nearby shrubs. They hung still and perfect in the night air, each one laced with dewdrops that sparkled like tiny constellations. The webs were delicate but strong, every thread woven into patterns so detailed and precise they almost didn't seem real. Some were shaped like spirals, others like flowers or snowflakes, each one catching the moonlight and casting faint, glimmering reflections onto the leaves nearby. Riley stepped forward slowly, voice low with awe. "These are incredible. It's like someone decorated the forest just for us." Clover's eyes widened. "They look like tiny pieces of lace," she breathed, "or frost on a window. I never knew spiderwebs could be so beautiful." She moved closer, placing each paw with great care, not wanting to disturb a single strand. The web shimmered as if breathing, motionless yet alive with quiet purpose. Riley adjusted their glasses. Each one is unique. Spiders weave them by instinct without ever being taught. Isn't that amazing? They just know. Clover tilted her head, watching how the light caught a single strand and made it shine like silver thread. It must take so much patience, she murmured. And time, Riley added. But they don't rush. They just build little by little until something beautiful appears. For a long moment, the two friends stood there in the hush of the forest, bathed in soft moonlight, surrounded by a gallery of glistening webs. There was no need to speak, only to breathe and marvel at the quiet wonder before them. Clover tilted her head, her voice almost a whisper. "I'm really glad we came. I was so worried at first. But this is magical." "It absolutely is," Riley replied gently. "I'm glad we came too." They shared a quiet smile, then turned together, walking onward beneath the trees, where the shadows danced softly ahead. The forest path began to slope gently downward, leading them into a quieter part of the woods. The trees here stood close together, their trunks dark and smooth, their branches brushing overhead like whispers. The night air felt a little cooler, carrying with it the faint scent of something sweet. Soft petals, maybe, or damp moss warmed gently by moonlight. Clover walked a little slower, her eyes moving from one shadow to the next. But the peaceful quiet of the forest and Riley's calm presence beside her helped her feel steadier with each step. Then, just ahead, a soft shimmer caught her eye. "Riley," she said, her voice hushed, "there's something glowing near that tree." Riley adjusted their glasses and leaned forward. "Let's take a closer look." Nestled in the grass at the base of a wide oak was a single flower, its petals golden yellow and faintly luminous. The light from its center pulsed gently, like a sleepy heartbeat, slow, even, and warm. Riley's face lit up. "It's an evening primrose," they said, crouching beside it with delight. "They bloom only at night, and they glow like this to invite moths and other night creatures. Isn't that lovely?" Clover knelt beside them, careful not to crush the nearby grass. She leaned close, paws resting on her knees, watching the flower's golden light flicker softly across her fur. "It's like it's smiling," she whispered, "like it's glad we stopped to say hello." The two friends settled beside the flower for a moment, sitting shoulder to shoulder in the mossy clearing. Around them the forest breathed, gentle and wide, with the breeze rustling lightly through the oak's high canopy. Riley tilted their head, watching the way the light pooled around the petals and spilled onto the ground like honey. "Nature has so many ways of saying welcome," they said quietly. Clover looked over, her eyes warm. "And you always know so much about nature. I'm really glad I'm here with you tonight." Riley smiled, brushing a bit of moss from their sleeve. "Me too. It's nice to stop and notice the little things." For a while, they sat in companionable silence, letting the forest settle around them. The flower glowed on, steady and small and bright. Then, just ahead, the strange light they'd been following shimmered again, this time a little stronger. Clover took a deep breath and stood. I think I'm ready to see what it is. Riley rose beside her, giving their tail a quiet swish. Then let's find out together, they replied. The path narrowed again, winding between two tall trees, whose roots rose like little hills along the ground. The glowing light they'd seen from Clover's doorway now shimmered more brightly between the trunks, casting pale green and blue and yellow glints across the moss. Clover slowed. It's just up ahead, she whispered. Riley gave an encouraging nod. You're doing wonderfully. As they stepped into the clearing, the source of the glow finally revealed itself. Beneath a wide canopy of trees, nestled in the hollow of a gentle slope, was a ring of mushrooms, dozens of them, each one glowing softly in the moonlight. They lit up the clearing like tiny lanterns, their light bouncing gently off the bark of nearby trees. Oh, Clover breathed, her voice filled with awe. It's not scary at all. It's amazing. The mushrooms weren't bright in a flashy way. Their glow was steady and calm, like candlelight behind soft glass. Some were tall and slender, others short and round. Together, they formed an almost perfect circle on the forest floor. Riley stepped closer, crouching to inspect them. I've read about these. They're called bioluminescent mushrooms. They glow at night to attract insects that help spread their spores. Clover knelt beside her friend, eyes wide. They look like they're having a little gathering, a soft glowing tea party. Riley chuckled. That's one way to think of it. They sat in silence for a few long moments, soaking in the glow. The forest around them was perfectly still, as if pausing to admire the moment too. Thank you for helping me come here, Clover said, her voice full of gratitude. If I had stayed home, I would have missed all of this. Riley reached down and gently plucked a small mushroom from the edge of the ring. It fit neatly in the curve of their paw, its glow flickering like a heartbeat. Carefully, Riley offered it to Clover. Here, so you can take a little piece of the magic home with you. Clover smiled and held it close, the soft light warming her fur. I love the forest, she said, even the parts that feel a little strange or scary at first. Nature really is something amazing, Riley replied softly. The glow of the mushroom lit Clover's paw as they turned back down the path. The clearing faded behind them, but its quiet magic stayed with them like a hush in the air, lingering gently in their hearts. The forest felt softer now, familiar. The same trees and shadows they had passed earlier no longer felt uncertain. They felt like old friends, gently waving them along the way. Clover walked slowly, one paw cradling the mushroom, the other resting gently beside her. Her steps were lighter, more certain, and every now and then she looked around with wide, curious eyes. The stars overhead blinked sleepily through the canopy. A night bird called once in the distance. And when they came to the log bridge, Clover paused, but only for a breath. It's funny, she said. It doesn't seem as high as it did before. You've gotten taller since we left, Riley said with a grin. Clover giggled. Maybe just braver. They crossed the log together, the moonlight following them like a companion. As they finished their trek home, Riley looked over at Clover. You were so brave tonight, Clover. Really. Clover's cheeks turned pink. I still felt nervous, but I think that's okay. I can be nervous and brave at the same time. That's the best kind of brave, Riley said softly. They walked the rest of the way in comfortable silence. The forest, quiet and glowing, seemed to hum with approval. Clover's cozy cave house came into view, its round windows glowing softly with candlelight. Vines swayed gently over the doorway, and the sweet scent of nearby wildflowers hung in the cool night air. She stepped inside and placed the glowing mushroom in a small clay pot by the window. Its soft light shimmered against the walls, filling the little home with a quiet, peaceful glow, like a memory you can hold in your paws. Clover wrapped herself in her blanket and climbed into bed. As she nestled into the softness, she turned her gaze to the mushroom by the window. You'll keep the night gentle, she whispered, just like Riley helped keep me brave. Outside, the wind rustled through the leaves. Far above, the stars blinked slowly, as if in time with her breathing. She closed her eyes and smiled. Thank you, Forest, she murmured, for all the gentle surprises. And just across the way, Riley curled up in their treehouse, glasses resting on the nightstand beside a sketch of the mushroom ring. They thought of Clover's smile, the glow in her paw, and the way the forest had wrapped around them like a soft blanket. With a satisfied sigh, Riley pulled the clovers close. Good night, Forest, they whispered. Let tomorrow bring another wonderful mystery. And with that, Riley fell fast asleep, and our quiet journey comes to a close. If you'd like to linger a little longer beneath the trees, another soft story is waiting. But if your eyes are growing heavy, the forest music will play on for a while, here to keep you company. Good night, my friend. Sleep well, and may your dreams be filled with soft light, quiet courage, and the comforting glow of unexpected wonders.